Reality is like a film set. There are directors,
Action!
producers,
Are we on schedule?
and even actors.
Can somebody get me a coffee?
The trick is realizing that you are playing all of these roles. You are the executive producer of your reality. My name is Daniel,
My name is Lauren.
and we're here to break the fourth wall to discover what's behind the scenes. And what you hear just might have you saying, "That's so meta." Welcome, everybody, to That's So Meta. What do we discuss?
The mystical, the magical, and the metaphysical.
Miss Lauren and I have just celebrated our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah.
That's
yesterday.
3 years. That's yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday as of today.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 28th.
Mhm.
Yeah?
3 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you too.
Hey, thanks.
Good job.
I showed up.
You know,
I'm here to party.
we made it, and there's more.
Welcome to the future. The future is now.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun. We had a nice date, and looking forward to the future.
We did a date.
More dates.
Couple, 2, 3 dates.
Some more time to pass.
Things
Together.
come and go.
And then
Time is an illusion. Oh, right there. Cut
here
it.
we, and now.
And now. So, we have an episode. This is a viewer request.
Mm-hmm.
This is a special suggestion, which I might be a little bit passionate about.
Mhm.
Try to keep my wits about me, not to get too emotional. But we have a special request episode. And if you'd like a little teaser, you guys want to look into the future, read the description.
Yeah, just read the title of the video, and it might give you a hint what you're in for.
It's a little clue. Comment below if you can,
If you saw the hint, if you caught the,
if you were able to figure out what the episode was about
Let us
before we
know.
said it.
yeah.
Summer is here, folks. It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
We're busy.
Mm-hmm. Keep them busy.
We run a video studio.
August will be our busiest month by far.
Big.
We have a huge work trip, and then we have
A short film.
at least 3 to 4 shoots
Just random
just
stuff.
for this month.
Wedding, short film.
Yeah,
2 short films.
Separate
One of them is,
short films.
both of them are 2 to 3 days each.
Yeah. And then, yeah, August is going to be
Packed.
packed.
Busy.
And in the meantime, on the days that we're not shooting, we will be editing everything that we just shot. So August will be busy. So if our shooting schedule for That So Meta falls behind, please forgive us. We are trying to stay on top of things.
Yeah, we'll do 1 episode for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a crazy times.
Crazy month.
Busy.
Mm-hmm.
Busy's good.
Which is great.
If it's the right kind of busy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I felt like July was pretty busy for us as well. Just not the right kind of busy.
Right.
So it'll be nice to really double down on some work.
Starting to say no more often, busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing our battles, busy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good place to be as a business owner. Really
Yeah,
is.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be in scarcity, just saying yes to everything. You know, we're to the point where we can choose a little more, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be a great month coming up.
If you are conscious in the spiritual community, a new ager, woke, whatever your title is right now, just cut yourself a little slack. Give yourself a break. Take a day off. Reference our last episode, toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing. You do not need to be strong. You do not have to have unwavering positivity if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel right. These are weird, strange circumstances that we're in. I don't necessarily, in my own particular belief structure, seeing it getting any better anytime soon, which gives us the opportunity to get better ourselves. Here is an example. I am an actor. I am SAG-AFTRA union. I went union in 2016. I thought it was a good idea for me. It seemed like it was the move to make in terms of pursuing a professional acting career. I had financial abundance and people helped me pay for the cost. And I also was encouraged to do so by another actor that I respect and very much enjoy his work, and worked with him on a project, who told me that it was just the next step in the evolution of my being a career-based actor, and so I did it. Ever since going union, it has not really served me in any positive ways. If anything, maybe cost me some opportunity, and also cost me money. So if you are in the television and film industry, maybe even in music, okay, so any sort of mainstream entertainment, they're passing new mandates and regulations where they have already been requiring the use of masks. That's standard, we know this. But now, as of just recently, maybe within the last week of today's recording, they're also mandating vaccines, okay? So if you cannot do a PCR test, you will not work anymore.
They're heavy COVID-based restrictions when it comes to getting back on set and getting back to normal or whatever. You have to jump through several hoops in order
Medical
to just
hoops.
do your job, just to get back to it. Which, if you have the belief structure of, not wanting to get PCR tested or vaccinated or whatever, for whatever reason, if you don't do it, you can't have your job anymore.
Pay to play.
Yeah.
It is a pay to play industry, television and film. And not just television and film, listeners. You may have been affected by the same paradigm, whether you work in the medical industry or you work in schooling. Okay, a lot of these regulations and mandates are just national and global for all kinds of work markets. But the television and film industry, to my experience, has always been very go with the mainstream narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, so I refused a PCR test. I could not work as a SAG-AFTRA member who pays my dues. I refused a vaccine personally because of my own beliefs and medical conditions. I was told I cannot work. This was very heartbreaking and frustrating as somebody who's pursued an acting career my whole life and didn't want to go through an experimental medical procedure in order to pay to play.
Right.
I voiced this concern on my social media, and I was overwhelmed with the positive response from people that I do know and strangers alike, supporting me in the decision to leave the union, work outside of these laws and these mandates and these regulations, and form a new network of creative individuals who still want a job and still want to work and still be creative, who disagree with the new rules and regulations of the union, okay? So this is mostly targeting the union, whether you're any scale of filmmaker. As a career-based filmmaker, there are unions for that. And the union laws are suggesting this, and some of them are even denying you a medical exemption. Okay? So this is pay to play, and you're paying with your health. So I and a partner of mine, which is funny, this is a gentleman that I met on the same set as the actor who told me to get my SAG card. This gentleman has asked me to help him form crew of filmmakers, passionate people who want to make cinema, who also are good people but don't want to vaccinate.
And also people that are vaccinated and don't mind working under conditions with unvaccinated people or whatever.
Inclusive.
It's very inclusive because we understand that people, sometimes you honestly cannot say no. And that's for your own choice. It's your own decision. It's whatever. But there's no reason to judge or condemn another person for their choices. Everybody's always trying their best.
So my partner and I came up with the idea. I named it, proud of this name, Sovereign Cinema. The Sovereign Cinema. And this will be a network of creative individuals, both successful, union-based crewmen, non-union independent, all alike, vaccinated or unvaccinated. This is a safe place for those who choose to work outside of the union mandates. And we have a Facebook group, And we'll make a blog or a website where people can network their projects all over the place. And if this resonates with you, this mission statement resonates with you, you're more than welcome to join us and participate and network yourself. This is going to be a slow building thing, but I believe that the movement will be strong. I mean, I had 500 reactions on Facebook to this.
Yeah.
People in support, writers, hair and makeup. You know, I had a massage therapist who works with, you know, celebrities. I've had writers, directors, camera people, actors of all different scales of, you know, career-based professionalism interested in participating, and they're all equally important to me. So this will be a safe place for you to come and look for jobs, gigs, employments, contribute, donate, help, whatever it is. We are people who are going to want to do this, you know, with or without regulations and mandates. Okay? So that's a special announcement. Sovereign Cinema.
Find us on Facebook.
Today's special sponsor is my other podcast, Celestial Oddities, Pair of Normal Guys, with my co-host Garrett Jegeman, or as he goes by, Frater Crow. Our last episode was with a special guest, a girl named Tara, who is a tarot reader, psychic medium. She does intuitive writing as a form of channeling, and she was an interesting person to chat with on the show, and she has suggested that she'd love to maybe come on a future episode and do live readings for people, which could be fun.
That would be fun.
I just wanted to mention Celestial Oddities because we do episodes twice a month on that show. And we have
believe that's on Spreaker.
Spreaker, Spreaker.com. We usually do pretty much every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check us out. There's a gazillion episodes that are all free to listen to right now.
Some of them are about like little creepy things too. So
We do
if
like
you're not
a
like
lot.
super into tarot, you could always find like the spooky episodes.
There's spooky stuff on there. We do like a monster of the week, a creature of the week type of episodes. We do interviews. We also do like a lot of theory and philosophy on world events on that show, but it's a little bit more esoterica on that show. And
It's kind of like a grab bag too.
yeah,
But I know that Garrett's always very well researched, and you always do a lot of research beforehand as well. So it's fun. It's a good
formula. It's a good. Check us out.
Spreaker.com.
Today's episode is a viewer request about predictive programming.
We have touched on this topic a little bit
Yep.
here and there, but this is another aspect of it that we're going to be covering today that we just haven't totally grasped.
It's more
in
relevant.
the last couple times we've addressed this. I feel like this topic comes up a lot with us. Like, it's a very important theme for us to explore.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's all around us at all times. It's a type of advertising and marketing that's always selling us something. And we're somebody who are conscious about, you know, what we're being exposed to. And so it comes up constantly because we just notice when it's like happening.
Yeah.
My definition of predictive programming is when the news, TV shows, movies, books, and other forms of entertainment create and advertise something happening, okay, using fiction, but the content is heavily agenda-based because it uses our creator abilities against us by getting us to manifest the things that they depict in the entertainment through the law of attraction. So they use our own creative energy to manifest their agendas, okay? Another aspect as to why the controllers do this is a balancing act of the energy by telling us what they plan on doing in plain sight. This is to balance out the universal laws. So if they're doing something to us, they have to tell us that they're doing it. They, of course, depict it as a form of fiction so that we don't believe it will actually happen. But it works like a type of confession in a sense. Okay? Predictive programming. Now, this is a very specific example that I've made for you guys that I feel is very important right now. An example of predictive programming in television and film. Let's discuss the book from the 1950s, written by Richard Matheson, titled I Am Legend. Okay? If you watch movies, you've probably heard that name before.
Mm-hmm.
This book came out in the late 50s, and it was about a virus or a pandemic. And there was a sole survivor who was seemingly immune to the virus and was living alone in the world, fighting monsters unto itself. When he meets somebody else, finds another organization of people, and the effort to create a vaccine that would cure the virus. So it started with this book in the 50s. It is 2021, okay? What are we dealing with right now? 1967. We have the black and white horror film that I watched as a kid growing up, The Last Man on Earth. Okay?
Starring the great Vincent Price.
Vincent Price. The classics.
Mm-hmm.
We watched this film together just a few days ago.
Mm.
And same setting as the book.
Mm.
He is a sole survivor.
It's an adaptation of the book, and it's said to be like pretty accurate to how the book was. Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of zombies, they used vampires, but they were very zombie-like. So as I was studying this film with an open eye, not trying to take it as solely entertainment, but seeing what its, ulterior motive is, its agenda as a work of entertainment. There is a vaccine, in the film that can suppress the mutation and make you normal, semi-normal. In the research of this, Vincent Price's character is speculating as to why he's immune to the virus and nobody else is. He speculates, this is a quote, that he was bitten by a bat. And that he believes that he being bitten by the bat has given him a natural immunity to this virus, to this pandemic. Mm-hmm. And that the cure for the virus is in his blood. Mm-hmm. And that he aims to make a treatment out of his blood for the infected. Mm-hmm. A bat. Mm-hmm. This movie came out in 1967. Just going to make that point, okay? A bat. Bat, 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 bat. 1971. The Omega Man. This is another rendition, another remake, another retelling of the same exact I Am Legend story. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to point out here is that you've got the initial hit. This is the book about a pandemic, a virus that includes vaccines. And then you've got The Last Man on Earth from 1967, which is the first film adaptation. Mm-hmm. Now you have, less than 10 years later, another film in color in the 70s, The Omega Man, where we're tackling the same subject again, okay? Take notice of the repetition and the monotony and the redundancy and how many times it is advertised to the mass collective. There's a theme there. Flashing forward, 2007, we have once again I Am Legend, starring popular movie star Will Smith. Mm. Now, I had seen the movie in theaters, and I had seen it several times after that, before I went through any sort of spiritual awakening and started looking at things alternatively. When you don't have an awareness of the way that things can or can't be affecting you in an ulterior motive way, it can seep into your subconscious and have psychological effects on you. We are creator beings who are always manifesting our reality through energy, okay? Predictive programming is a way of seeping into your subconscious and using your creator abilities against you to actually manifest things as a type of ritual or an exercise, okay? This is what we're dealing with here. Another example, one of the most common themes in entertainment history. Let's look at aliens and extraterrestrials. We've got E.T. movies since as long as we've had entertainment to begin with, and although there can be some positive depictions of aliens from time to time, the most common theme is that space aliens are a major threat as a whole to our population, to our race, to our civilization. Space aliens, a common theme is that They are here to blow us up or abduct us or poison us or something terrible, right? This is predictive programming, as now you see the news and mainstream media is finally commenting on UFOs. They're finally broadcasting sightings of spaceships, and it's happening on a regular basis, usually in local television in local cities. UFO sightings are popping up all the time, almost like it's becoming normal now.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that's being discussed very heavily and has been discussed in the truther networks for many years is an impending fake alien invasion. So what do I mean when I say fake? I mean that it's been said that the controllers have been planning an alien invasion on Earth, that it probably would not be tactical or warfare driven, but probably the use of information.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably come in the form of maybe a peaceful alien invasion. Maybe not ones that want to blow us up and probe us, but rather offer to help us in ways that would be heavily agenda-based. So a fake alien invasion has been prophesized for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And, alternative networks are still speculating of whether or not that is going to happen. But when you start seeing these things pop up in television, in film, or on the news, and in books, you have to just take it with a microscope and a grain of salt, and you have to look at it differently. You got to turn it around, see through it. Don't take things for face value, and don't always assume that a work of fiction is actually a work of fiction, or whether or not it's being advertised to you as something that you can assume as your own reality, and accept it and manifest it through your fear, through your anxiety, through your stress. Okay?
I think a nice example of this idea would be the novel 1984, because if you it's a novel that I feel that everybody's read, because in high school it was like one of the classic pieces of literature to be discussed in English class. Am I wrong? 1984 is a huge, like,
Yeah.
It's in every high school, right? The core of that novel is the big brother is always watching you idea.
Right.
That I remember there's like a scene in the book where he's sitting on a train and he's just surrounded by screens that are advertising to him at all times.
Yeah.
And there's no way to turn it off without being disciplined for skipping the advertisement.
Super important.
Now, keep in mind, although there haven't been nearly as many adaptations into film with that novel, it's been pushed to every single generation almost since it came out at a young age, when our manifesting creator abilities are still very incorporated in us.
Yeah.
And then look at the society that we have now, where we're constantly being advertised to. We, are constantly being watched and monitored, and there are algorithms in your phone that can perfectly cultivate a collection of advertisements that are curated for you to get you to click on them, and they know your age and your interests and everything about you. That's a reality. That is 100% our reality as it is right now. But the idea was in a book from, I'm not even sure when the book came out, but it was taking place in 1984, so it was obviously came up before that. But in a book that has been pushed to us by this education system,
right,
across generations.
The first place we hit when we're little sponges.
Yeah. So that's like a perfect example of having it slip into your subconscious and then eventually become a reality, because it becomes normalized to you as a concept. But
very true.
That book came true.
Mm-hmm. We're here now. And those are just the public ways that your phones and your home devices, your Alexas and your Google items and things like that. We accept to the terms of the privacy invasion by using the apps.
Right.
We have to accept. And these are things that we just do because these are our ways that we connect with each other and stay social. Mm-hmm. So we just go along with the privacy invasion and the monitoring through our devices and our electronics, knowing that there's no other way to do it other than to accept the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Now, imagine all of that same shit that they do without telling us.
Right.
Or they do tell us in TV and movie, and we don't take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you can look at this like a type of mind control. And I know that sounds scary, and it sounds fear-based, okay? But do the shadow work. Don't pretend these things don't exist because you're high vibe. I'm not trying to hear that, okay? Everything put out is following a script that they know will have a specific effect. You can research the concept of a psyop. When something goes viral in the mainstream, it is a psyop. When you see the same theme or concept come out over and over and over in movies and TV shows, this is a controlled psyop that has a psychological effect on civilians that have no idea the way information is abused, manipulated, and distributed to unsuspecting people. I'm sorry that is scary. I'm sorry that sounds fear-based. I'm sorry that might make you angry and you think that we're negative and you think that we're fear-based. No, we're just being inclusive of the way reality works, okay? Wake up and accept the fact that you live in a 3D system of paradigms and systems. That's the fact.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you will have an incarnation and an experience somewhere with different systems. But right now, that is the way that it works here. I'm just being inclusive about it. I'm accepting all spectrums of light and shadow. I'm not just being like, high vibe, toxic positivity all the time and pretending like everything is perfect forever.
If you're afraid of something, it means that there's something in there that you have to explore.
Exactly.
You know, I know we talked about that before. So if this sounds scary to you, you have to face it. You have to do the work to acknowledge it for what it is, because it's actually empowering to know these things.
Very much so.
Always have to arm yourself with knowledge. And it's, in my opinion, I don't think that it's scary. I think that it's just something to be aware of so that you can, continue on, but more empowered.
More educated and prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So when we watch TV shows and movies, because we do like everybody else, we play video games, we're not immune to 3D reality. We just navigate it slightly different in the sense that we're more conscious of the way that what we're perceiving, when we're perceiving it, and how is it affecting us directly. What's the mood that I have based on my perspective of watching this TV show or movie? Does it have a psychological or an emotional effect on me in a way that actually hurts my life? Or do I watch these things with open eyes and empowered perspective so when the mind control starts to hit me, I can see the agendas that are present in advertising for food and products and toys and things like that, entertainment. I can see what the agendas are, and then I choose not to let them affect me in a negative way. That way I'm extracting what I prefer and I'm leaving the rest. We have positive perspectives on things that come from a place of empowerment. We're just not toxic positivity that are always assuming everything as a great, fulfilling, positive experience, even if it's very painful. Okay? We have a positive spin on it after we feel how we're feeling and we accept the initial effects. And then we process them and let them go or investigate them for however long it takes to sit with the hard, reality of a circumstance or something that we've learned and work with it. Instead of being segregative and just being, oh, well, I don't exist in that reality. Or my spiritual beliefs tell me that will never happen to me because I'm too high in vibrational frequency. Well, listen, I understand that science very much so, and I use it myself in a lot of positive ways. I'm just inclusive about the shadow work that is involved, and I feel how I feel even if it's negative. That way we're not spiritually bypassing the circumstances that are traumatic and then burying them in our subconscious and in our organs and then our auric field and in our light body for them to sit there and then just be like a magnet for entity attachments and spiritual parasites and all of these negative things that exist, whether you choose to accept that or not. We're just more inclusive about these sub-realities. And predictive programming is a tool that's used by people who are already conscious of these things. They have no more power than we do. They have just been doing this longer. They're more conscious and accepting of these versions of reality, and they know how to manipulate our own creative abilities against us. I did a whole episode of reality mechanics about this, where they can only use our own power against us. They actually don't have any power of their own. They're just manipulative. Okay? That's another empowering thing I can tell you. A lot of people will avoid talking about any sort of controllers or shadow governments because they don't want to give into the fear or play that fear game. Well, just because you choose not to accept that doesn't mean that it isn't a reality for some people who have more of an awareness of it. But it also doesn't have to disempower you and make you feel like a victim.
Right.
If anything, knowledge is power. You now have more and are even more of yourself by being inclusive of all these other versions of reality. Predictive programming.
Yeah.
Be conscious about the media you consume. Be conscious about what the news is telling you. Be conscious about your entertainment. I'm not saying turn off the TV forever and never watch a TV show or a movie again, but be more conscious about the themes and their underlining message that they might have angled against your subconscious. I'm sorry. I told you I was going to get a little passionate this time.
I'm glad.
You know,
That was great.
this is my work here.
No, that was great.
We're mad as hell and we're not going to take this anymore.
So that's predictive programming. I think that it's important to always, like, even if you don't want to resonate with every single thing that crosses your path, it's important to at least acknowledge it and understand its place and then put it somewhere. You know, nothing ever has meaning until you give it meaning.
Assigning
Like
meaning.
I could pick this crystal up and I could put it over here, and that doesn't have to mean anything to you, or it could just totally ruin your day. It depends on how you are assigning meaning to a thing, and just being more aware of it is the least that you can do to live a more conscious life. You know?
I'm very glad you said that.
Yeah.
Assign your own meaning to things as creators, as deliberate creators. Because if you don't assign your own meaning, then one that has an agenda to come pre-programmed for you could have a specific effect that you don't prefer. But you can always cancel out and nullify any agenda as long as you have an awareness of it so that it has no power over you. You see, that's where the shadows hide in your blind spot. Just shine light on them. Study, research, critically think, choose for yourself. That way you're not being told how these things are going to affect you. You're just perceiving it, neutralizing it, and then choosing how you perceive it.
So that's predictive programming.
That's so meta.
And that's so meta. All right. So we'll see you again after
see
our very
you
busy month.
In September.
Halfway through the month. We'll see you when we get there.
We'll see you maybe in August, but probably September. And who knows, maybe we'll live stream the next episode.
That'd be fun.
You know?
Let
Let's
us
talk
know.
about it.
And let's talk about it.
That's so meta.
That's so meta. Cheers.